What's going on, guys? It's your boy LQ, Mr. Real Deal Fantasy HQ, and welcome to the RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. And today I got Week 10 start 'em, sit 'em, 3 defenses you should be starting, and 1 defense you should be fading. So I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get right into the episode. Now, there's a couple defenses that I don't always get to put in these videos because I kind of think they're just start and forget at this point. But these are the defenses that you're starting this week, no matter what. You got to put them in because you always have to ride with your studs, correct? Now, I just kind of want to hit on some defenses that you kind of been on the fence about, or they're highly available to you on the waiver wire. Let's start off with one of them. You're going to start off with the Saints versus the Vikings. Now, you've been on the fence about these guys, but I really feel as though they're a powerhouse defense because they're tied first in the NFL right now when it comes to takeaways. And you know what's on the table when you get takeaways, and it's points. They're going against the Vikings, and yes, Joshua Dobbs had a huge impact last week. Surprise, surprise, against the Falcons, and I think the Falcons were more prepared for Jaren Hall versus the Hall of Famer, soon-to-be Hall of Famer, Joshua Dobbs, quarterback, but I'm just kidding there. But I think the road gets a little wicked this week because you're looking at a Saints defense that have been playing solid football, solid for fantasy as well. They're allowing the 3rd fewest passer rating right now, and they're allowing the 4th lowest completion percentage to quarterbacks right now. So I think Joshua Dobbs has a tough task going up against this Saints defense. Like, all great last week, but you got to understand, going up against a defense that know how to harass offensive lines as well. You sprinkle in a little bit of sacks with the Saints, and if you look at Joshua Dobbs, he was at least sacked twice in the last 5 games he's played. So you got to look at this matchup as a matchup where you can get some points and not expect a lot of points from this Vikings offense with Joshua Dobbs getting moved around the pocket and them creating turnovers and putting pressure on Joshua Dobbs. This is a play that I like this week going against this Vikings offense. Next up, I got the Colts going against this Patriots offense. Now, the Colts made a huge impact last Sunday going against the Panthers. We all know it's a start and forget when you're facing the Panthers offense. But, man, they had 2 pick sixes, a forced fumble, 4 sacks, and they held the Panthers offense to 13 points. So, of course, the Colts are matched up this week with another layup matchup against this Patriots offense, who are 30th in points per game. So I wouldn't be expecting a lot of points here. So this is another smash matchup for them to go out there and put some points on the board and be above the leaderboards. And what's crazy is that the Colts are still highly available to you on the waiver wire as well. So I've been bouncing them in and out just based on matchups, but this is another back-to-back matchup where it's a clean smash here where you can guarantee the points here with the Colts defense, especially the way they've been playing in the last couple of weeks. So the Patriots offense is still pretty bad, so Colts, they get smashed this week. Next up, I'm going down to Florida for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We need to think of a cool name here because they are the turnover specialists here, going up against a 49ers offense who've kind of been mid-tier the last 3 games. I mean, you look at the last 3 games, they've been held to 17 points in a row in each of those games with 7 giveaways, which is kind of abnormal to see these 49ers kind of struggling on offense, but they got some guys that are banged up. You got CMC that was banged up. You got Brock Purdy, who suffered a concussion during that time, but he actually was okay, but he still was looking a little and you got Deebo Samuel, who's also dealing with some injury as well. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, they smell blood in the water. And you're going up against a team right now that are specialized in turnovers, which means points, people. And that's what we like. And I feel like the Jags have just been cycled in and out of starting lineups. This week, I like the matchup. As scary as it look, I'd like the matchup just based on how this Jags defense have been playing. They've been playing phenomenal for fantasy. I'm not quite sure why they're still available in some leagues on the waiver wire. I've been stashing them as my second defense. I got to be honest. In those leagues where I have 2 defenses, the Jaguars and the Falcons are probably the one of the 2. So I like the Jags this week going against the 49ers. You can go ahead and smash them into the starting lineups. Now let's get into a defense that I think you should be fading this week. As good as the matchup may look, I think you're underestimating this Commanders offense, man. I'm fading the Seahawks defense this week just based on there's so many other options. I know we have 4 teams on bye. You got the Rams, Dolphins, Chiefs as one of those defenses that you've probably been cycling in and out, but I really feel as though the Seahawks are set up for failure going up against this Commanders offense, who've kind of been under the radar good on offense. They've been finding the end zone more often than not. You got Sam Howell that's playing really, really, really good football right now, and you're looking at him, he's a top 3 fantasy quarterback right now and a top 5 quarterback in multiple categories. So I think this is a setup versus a Seahawks defense coming out of that bye have kind of been lacking in certain areas. And one of the areas that are completely noticeable, they're leading the league right now since week 6 for most rushing yards per game allowed. 158 rushing yards, people. Ugh, that's nasty. So there's a lot of areas where this Seahawks defense are not really the same defense since coming out of that bye week. They've been giving up some points. They've been missing some tackles. Teams have been able to go down and drive on them and score. It's just been a little wonky for the Seahawks defense, and I don't want you going in there underestimating Sam Howell in this rushing game as well with Brian Robinson Jr. back there. If you're going to be giving up this many yards, you got a guy back there that could probably take it to the house at any point in the field as well. And I'm looking at Antonio Gibson this game as well for some of you fantasy guys out there, but we're talking defenses. So I'm going to tell you to fade the Seahawks defense this week. I'm not too sure if this is going to be a great play this way. They might hurt you rather than help you. You know how it goes with the defenses, man. You got to play it safe and kind of look for other options and pivot to the wire or pivot to a defense you've been cycling in and out this week. So that wraps up another great episode of RotoBaller Fantasy Sports. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please leave a comment below on your start and sit questions. Until game time, I will be answering them as much as possible. So make sure you guys follow me on Real Deal Fantasy on all social media platforms. Until next time.